Okay, we're recording. Okay, so
we are live.
Today's gonna be a little different because I'm going to be reading from my notebook a little bit more than I usually do. Notebook, I mean book. But that's because I want to make sure I get it right. So today we are talking about narrator's point of view. Okay, so up until today we have really been generating ideas about what to write about, right? Because you guys are constantly, you even just said it, I don't know what to write about. Well, we had our lovely map over here, and we have that chart on our board. You came up with more than 2 ideas, okay? So, and they may not be amazing ideas, but it's what you turn the writing into, okay? It's not just that I'm writing about the time that my baby sister was born, okay? You're like, yeah, that's not exciting, but really you can make it exciting and you can make it something that's memorable, because that's what these are. They're personal narratives that should be memorable, okay? So today we are talking all about, on my board, the target for today says, I can produce a personal narrative and analyze it to make sure I stay in my point of view. And this is what I mean by that. So I'm going to show you 2 examples up here. The first one's this one. Ready? Not my example, by the way. I was still at the changing table, my sister squirming beneath me, when my dad put the box on the kitchen table, and then, peeling off a long strip of tape and pulling back one of the flaps, looked in on a jumble of family photos, with little photo albums scattered throughout. The photos showed me and my sister when we were little. They were the ones he'd lost. Okay. Does anybody realize the point of view issue in this paragraph? The light is shining only on my face, and it looks really heavenly. Okay. Yeah?
She's about
What do you think, Jacob?
I think that they were the ones that he lost. It was supposed, it's supposed to be on the girl.
What do you mean?
It's supposed to be about the girl.
It is. So the girl, the one who is holding her baby sister on the changing table, how many of you have ever changed a diaper or watched somebody change a diaper? Especially when they get to be a certain age, you have to like hold them down and like undo the diaper, and it's like, stop squirming, stop moving side to side. It is a challenge. So my question to you is, if I am sitting here changing my sister's diaper and my dad is in the kitchen opening a box, how do I know what he is doing?
Yeah. You don't know.
You don't know. That is the exact point of today's lesson, okay? Is that this top part is what I am really concentrating on, okay? I am concentrating on not letting this baby fall off the changing table, because that would be horrible.
Just
okay?
stand still.
I have no idea, bless you, what my dad is doing in the other room. I cannot see that he is peeling off a long strip of tape. I cannot see that he's pulling back one of the flaps, unless I'm standing at a changing table that has a direct view into the kitchen, which is not very likely.
It's like
okay?
in the middle of the hallway.
Right, it's in the middle of the room and odd. So we have to change it up a little bit, because it's very easy to slip into this. It's very easy to go into something that says, okay, what's happening into the other room, because that's the important thing, is what's happening in the other room, okay? Yes, Judd.
I'm confused on the bottom part.
What about it?
Said the photos showed me and my sister when we were little.
Yeah.
They were the ones he lost.
Yep. He lost the pictures, apparently.
Oh, I thought he meant he lost the people. Never
Yeah,
mind.
nice try. Okay.
The ghost
So-
is changing her sister's diaper in another room.
This is how we change it, okay? It says, I was at the changing table, my sister squirming beneath me, when my dad came into the kitchen and dropped a heavy carton on the kitchen table. I heard him rustling about, and then I heard him mutter, unbelievable, just unbelievable. He looked up from across the room and called, remember all those photos from our farm? They're all here. Do you see how instead of saying, I watched him unpeel the tape, I saw him open up the flap, instead we're using our senses here. I heard him mutter. I heard him rustling about, right? So that's what we have to be really careful of in our writing, is that we stick to what we see and what we know. not what we think is happening in the other room. All right? Everybody understand that? It's much more difficult to do that in your own writing, but hopefully once you start taking those away, you'll add in details like this, because I like the details of this one more. I don't like the other one. It was way too, this happened, then this happened, then this happened. Okay? So, let's look at one more. This one actually was revised and it's the children, somebody's writing. All right, ready? Guys, I want you to see if you can figure out, well, we already know what the issue is because they labeled it here, so that'll be a little different. Okay, we ate lunch and just sat down watching the TV as a family. We usually just leave Jamp wandering in the house so he has freedom. My great-grandmother likes to sew and do many cool things with fabric. She's been doing it all her life. While we were watching TV, Jamp went to my great-grandmother's small shelf that had all the things that she used for sewing. Then, Jamp came running out of the room to us. Ah! I screamed as I saw Jamp cough up some blood onto the floor. He had swallowed a needle and was running around the room screeching in pain. My mom picked him up and took him to the vet quickly. So, I like how they labeled on the side here and underlined. I wouldn't have seen this, right? So Jamp went to my great-grandmother's small shelf. You just said you were watching TV, right? So how did you see your cat go into a room and swallow a needle?
I'm twin
Didn't.
brother.
Wait,
Okay.
how do you know if it's a cat or a dog?
Because
I thought it was a
it
dog.
said cat somewhere.
But no, it didn't say cat anywhere.
It's probably because of the next one.
It was not the
I
child.
The
thought it would be
revision.
like a toddler.
No, it's not.
Toddler walking
Alright,
around.
so I didn't know this until I went to the vet. This is the next issue, is that you guys kind of jump ahead of yourselves. He had swallowed a needle and was running around the room screeching in pain. My mom picked him up and took him to the vet. We don't know at this point that he has swallowed a needle, right? I would actually like more of the suspense, where you're like, all of a sudden your cat or whatever, dog, whichever one it is going crazy around the room and coughing up blood, and your mom has to take him to the vet, and you're like sitting there in agony, waiting, like, what is happening? What happened to this animal,
My
right?
dog.
I would rather that. I'd rather read that than just read exactly what happened. Here's the revised version. I was sitting on the left side of the couch with my mom sitting next to me on the right. My great-grandma and grandma were sitting on the cushioned seats across from us. Jamp was between my mom and me, snuggled between the cushions. My grandma smiled towards us and said, let Jamp get off the couch. I knew Jamp wanted to wander around the house. I pet him and he jumped off the couch. As I turned to watch television, I heard Jamp's footsteps go into my great-grandmother's room. See how we changed this? Now she's saying that instead of watching it happen, she watched the footsteps go into the room. Just a few minutes later, Jamp came running out of the room. His choking cough grabbed my attention. I looked over and saw him coughing up blood. Ah! I screamed. I quickly stood up on the couch. I was too shocked to care about my grandma's rule. Okay, so obviously grandma has a rule about standing on the couch.
Is there a next page?
No.
Suspense.
I know, leaving us in suspense.
There's too much suspense.
Good job, Kai.
Was the cat die?
Do you all see the difference between the two of them? You cannot assume. You might know afterwards what had happened, but you cannot say in your writing that you already knew, okay? So you have to be very, very careful with that, all right? All right, one last thing, and then I'm gonna let you guys go off and work. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. I am going to read a section, and at the end of it, I want you to either put a thumbs up or put a thumbs down. Thumbs up if I stayed in my own point of view, okay? Thumbs down if I slithered into somebody else's point of view. Slithered, yes. All right? Okay, here we go. I made my way slowly towards the edge of the front of the line. Let me restart. I can't read this morning. I made my way slowly toward the front of the line as one by one kids in sogging bathing suits sat at the edge of the water slide before disappearing suddenly down the chute. I was next in line and the thumping in my heart was almost audible. I can do this, I thought to myself. I took one step forward. How are we doing so far? I think we're good. Yep. Thank you. All right. Soon I was at the edge of the slide. I leaned forward just enough to peer down below at the small blue rectangle of a pool dotted with heads of swimmers below. I shut my eyes quickly, dizzied from the height. How are we doing? Okay. We haven't heard anybody else's perspective yet so far. Good. I carefully sat down, feeling the cold rush of water beneath me. My hands gripped the edges of the slide. Ready? The attendant asked. I think so, I replied, still unsure. My cousin waited at the bottom, wondering what was taking so long. There we go. Why are we putting thumbs down right now? Kenzie?
Because she didn't know, or they didn't know what their cousin was thinking.
Yeah, we cannot be in our cousin's head unless our cousin told us later on what she was thinking, right? But at that moment, we do not know what our cousin is thinking. So, good job. All right, here's what you are going to do. You are going to go back to your seats, okay? And today, I really want you to focus on, after you have written a draft, going back and editing it. Making sure that you have reread it and stated your point of view the whole time. Not that you slithered off into somebody else's and you're just telling me what Kira's thinking part of the way through. You don't know what she's thinking unless she's saying it out loud, right? So, you guys, you have two things that you can find ideas to write about. Even if you don't think it's the most exciting thing, I still want you to get into the habit of trying to write about it, trying to make it exciting, okay? Putting some dialogue in there, practicing with your dialogue, all right? So you had that list yesterday. You should have more memorable moments than one. First and last, right? Remember? And then you have our drawing. So you can pick something from one of our drawings also, one of your drawings, not mine. You can't write about mine. The last thing I'm going to pass out is this, and it's questions to ask yourself as you edit. Okay, and you're going to put this into your notebook. You're going to cut it out and paste it into your notebook. Okay? So it says, does this make sense? Are any words or parts missing? These are questions you should always ask yourself after you're done writing and you're rereading through it. Are all my sentences complete? Have I checked for run-ons and fragments? Have I used correct capitalization for names and the beginning of sentences? Have I used commas and quotation marks for dialogue? Have I checked to see that all my verbs and subjects agree? We'll talk about that more. Do the words all seem to be spelled right? Do they look right? Have I checked any I'm uncertain of? Have I checked for frequently confused words? Two, and there. Have I paragraphed and indented? All right? So, you have the rest of the class period to start writing your third personal narrative. Okay? So, go ahead, but please make sure that you go over and revise and edit things. If you do go back and revise and edit, do it in a different color. Okay?